Welcome to Meno Musings, our monthly podcast where we invite guests along to talk about topics related to the menopause. This month, we're going to be talking about hot flushes and how to keep cool and comfortable. So those transitioning through menopause experience hot flushes. Now, for some, that can be 1 or 2 a day, but for others, it can be 5 or 6 an hour. And the reason why we experience hot flushes is because the reduction in estrogen affects other hormones that impact the regulation of our body temperature. And experiencing hot flushes can cause a lot of stress and anxiety for those transitioning through perimenopause and menopause, particularly as they can be navigating work meetings, presentations, lunches, evenings out with friends and colleagues, and they just want to feel confident and look good. So there are many ways that women can control heat during menopause. They can carry portable fans, for example. They can avoid spicy foods. They can limit the amount of alcohol they consume. And then one of the other ways, of course, is to think about the clothing that you wear. And we know that layers can be really useful so that you can take layers off if you're experiencing a hot flush. And then when the hot flush passes, you can put those layers back on. The other thing to be thinking about, and I think is something which perhaps we don't think about as much, is actually the fabric or the material that the clothes you are wearing are made from. And today I'm joined by Eileen Willett, who has a background in fashion and is a founder of Cucumber Clothing, to talk about this topic. Welcome, Eileen, to Meno Musings.
Hi there. Actually, I'm going to say right at the start, it's Eileen, actually.
Eileen, sorry.
No
Eileen.
worries.
Eileen.
Eileen. And
I'm
the co-founder of Cucumber Clothing, and definitely we have a large cohort of our customers who, for whatever reason, it can be perimenopause, menopause, slightly postmenopausal, as well as women who are pregnant, ovulating, post-pregnancy, women who are on medication, women who just live in very hot countries or countries with extreme climates. All of these women are women who are affected by the temperature of their bodies being a bit out of their control, and trying to find solutions, as you mentioned quite a few, in trying to help regulate their bodily temperature. And they find that our clothing is one of those things that can really help.
Yeah. So, I mean, when we think about it, we're wearing clothing all the time, aren't we? And so when you are one of those women who's in, for whatever reason, maybe menopause, it may be other reasons, you're experiencing this extreme heat, what is it that you should be thinking about when you're looking at what you're wearing?
Well, I think you hit the nail on the head with the first one, which is layers, because obviously that just works. That's one of those easy, practical things that you can do. One of the things which people don't often put too much thought into is the type of fabric that goes into your clothing. So, obviously, if you're wearing a, skin tight bodycon dress, that's probably going to be restrictive in all senses, including in your ability to help fluctuating bodily temperatures. But aside from wearing more comfortable shapes or perhaps the layers, it's a lot to do with the type of fabrics you wear. So if you cast your mind back to your childhood, you can be whatever age you can be, but I reckon that your mother or an aunt or your dad would have said, wear cotton next to your skin, only ever wear natural fibers next to your skin. So I don't care if you're 30 or if you're 80, somebody will have said that to you at some point in your life. And then they're not completely wrong. Natural fabrics are breathable. Some of them, particularly cotton, are not particularly sustainable, but that's a whole other conversation. The only difficulty is a lot of these natural fabrics, particularly cotton, which seems to be the holy grail for some people, are very absorbent. So they love water. So if you think a classic rag to mop the floor will be made of cotton, you stick it in a bucket of water, it will soak it all up, it will hold that water for as long as possible, and it will dry out hours later. The fabrics that we use and that we've carefully chosen right from the start at Cucumber Clothing are fabrics which are hydrophobic. So they don't like water, they repel water. So if you took a rag made of some of our fabrics, stuck it in a bucket of water, if you pulled it out, it would start dripping the water off. It takes a long time to force it to absorb water. And so the reality is if you are hot, you have a hot flush, for instance, you start getting quite sweaty internally, internally you start heating up. As a result, your body begins to perspire, you start to sweat. That sweat, if you're wearing a cotton t-shirt, I can tell you, the cotton t-shirt will just lap it up and it will hold it there for hours, particularly if you're lying in bed trying to get back to sleep and you're sopping wet, then your sheets get soaked. Our clothes, you sweat, the sweat is wicked through, or I'm not going to take you through all the technical terms because they don't all work in the same way, but essentially it's pulled through the fabric, released into the atmosphere. So even though you will still get hot, you might still sweat, you might still get very sweaty, very, very wet. Within 5 to 10 minutes, your clothes will have dried out and you will feel dry, and you won't be during the day worrying about having massive patches of sweat around you. At night, you won't be worried about the fact that, well, not worried, you won't be aggravated by the fact that you're just soaking wet. You might need to get literally physically, which some women have to do, physically get out of bed and change your clothes 2 or 3 times a night. So there we are.
Yeah, I mean, that's fascinating, isn't it, Eileen? And I think that's exactly right. You think of cotton, don't you? You think of it being this nice, comfortable, lightweight fabric. I'll go for cotton. And actually, you're not thinking about the fact that it's a water lover. And you need to also be taking into account, is it hydrophobicity, or if it's a hydrophobic or type material, which cotton really does love that water, and it just won't dry out. So how easy is it then to find clothes, particularly I think for the work environment, or if you're heading out for a nice evening out? How easy is it to find clothes that are of those fabrics that have those characteristics?
Well, we like to think, starting with cucumber, obviously, I think that our clothes are very multifunctional. So for instance, we have a lovely dress with a ruffle on it, which lives as a night dress. You can wear it to bed. You can, if you're taking it on holiday, you can belt it, wear it with heels. You can collapse into bed. It's meant to be kind of 24/7 living. So things that you can just have woven into your wardrobe. They are never going to be the hero pieces. They're going to be the fantastic supporting pieces. And I would say that, a great place to start, really, I mean, we do a little strappy top. So if you've got like a fantastic, look at me top or dress, you might just want to buy the strappy top and put it underneath, because just having that layer next to your skin will allow the sweat not to sit on your skin or get soaked into your fabulous dress or top. It will just wick it away from your skin. And if you don't look at cucumber clothing, then the next best place to go is somewhere that does sports goods, because that's where all our fabric started from. That's our kind of genetic mother, Gaia, at the beginning. We're all these fabulous sports clothes. So both Nancy, my co-founder, and I really love working out. And that was where the idea started, is that we're wearing our great leggings and our fantastic tops and throwovers in the morning. And if we didn't have a meeting or something that we needed to get changed for, we found that by the end of the day, we're still wearing it, because you just forget that you're wearing it. It's so comfortable. It keeps you cool. I love doing hot yoga. And when I leave hot yoga, I just literally throw over one of our cucumber ballet tops. By the time I get home a few minutes later, I'm dry. And that's because my leggings are dry, my sports bra is dry, and my top is dry. And so, if you're looking for that type of clothing, just to try it, obviously try cucumber, but start with really good sportswear as your base layer, and that will definitely help with not with the getting hot, which is we're not a medication, but it will help with the results of getting hot.
Yeah, and actually I really love that idea of thinking not just what's the outer layer in a way, but you can have a layer like this underneath the outfit, which just helps wick away that moisture.
Exactly.
So what was the sort of inspiration then for setting up Cucumber Clothing? I mean, what sort of, what's the vision and the impact that you want to have by founding this organization?
Well, I think there are several strands to that, actually. And I'd say a key strand was just being two busy women, we have families, partners, you know, work, and we know a lot of other women who are just busy sort of holding it together. Whether or not you have children, whether or not you have aging parents, you know, it doesn't matter. Your world is just busy. And I love clothes. I've always worked in fashion, but sometimes instead of you know, having this amazing outfit, you want the clothes to work for you. You want to be able to wear something that not only you feel great in, it make you know that it's going to be comfortable, it's going to help you during the day. So that was one strand. It was a kind of, why do women always have to wear clothes that kind of look a bit uncomfortable and tight and a bit sweaty? And, you know, we don't need to wear clothes like that anymore, particularly now post-pandemic, when there's been a kind of relaxation around work clothing, I think. Another strand was sustainability, because, you know, fashion is a huge multi-billion-pound industry in this country, but it also contributes a huge amount of wastage, pollution. You know, there are a lot of problems around the fashion industry. And so we also wanted to create an ethical and sustainable brand, so that people could feel that if they're buying our clothes, not only are they buying something that hopefully they'll keep for a very, very long time. We also have a rental program. We also have returns. If you return it to us, we'll give you a discount off your next purchase, and we'll make sure clothes are recycled or reused in some way. We've tried to be thoughtful all the way through the process. So that was also another strand. And I think both of those things, and we make within a 5-mile radius in London. So everything, once the fabrics in the country, is designed, patents are made, graded, sampled, manufactured, and warehoused all within a 5-mile radius. So I think weaving those two strands just kind of pro-women, I guess, trying to put some ease into women's lives in those little corners where you don't think about. But as you said, if you're going to a meeting and what's at the top of your mind isn't what you're talking about, but is the fact, am I going to have a problem, and are my clothes going to let me down? We have met women like that who are so worried about having to go into presentations because they're just worried that just at that moment of hyper stress that they've been preparing for, their body will do what it's doing, and then their clothes will let them down, and they'll just feel really exposed and not in a nice way. So yeah, it's about support and sustainability.
I mean, I love the idea of helping women just feel confident and comfortable, one less thing to have to sort of worry about with all the other things that are going on. And I'm really interested in the idea of the rental as well. I think that's a really great idea, isn't it? Particularly if, you know, you're wearing an outfit out for a particular occasion and you might not get to wear it that often. So actually that as an option, and as a piece of around the sustainability piece, I think is really great. And I've not heard of that very often.
Exactly. So I think that our former Prime Minister's wife, Carrie Johnson, did a great job in promoting rentals for one-off, great, you know, for the G7. I think she rented 3 or 4 different dresses. I think she's wearing a rented dress at the Queen's funeral recently as well. But they're really, you know, big night out dresses. Whereas we were together with the Mayor of London's fund, we started a rental program which began last year. It's come to its natural end now, but we're probably going to pick it up soon, again, just with a new collection. But essentially, I think we're really one of the first to do it in the leisurewear sector, because everybody understands, okay, you've got a wedding to go to, your best friend's getting married, or somebody's son is getting christened, or, you know, you've got a big work event and you want that great outfit for that night. But not many people have thought, well, actually, I'm going on holiday for a week. I want to try something out that's new and just see what it's like. And if it feels great, then I'll keep it. And if it doesn't, I'll send it back, and it will still get used by somebody else. So that was a really interesting, the education piece around it was tricky, because not everybody can get their mind around it, but it was good enough that, as I said, I think we're going to move forward with the next piece, because we had a fantastic response, not just from some of our customers, but also from the press.
Yeah, and I think that sustainability piece is just so important, isn't it? And I think people now they're not just talking about it, they're wanting to live it in their lives. And so I think there is a real market for that piece. So thinking about future, I guess, you know, future fabrics. You know, where is that going? Is there anything, you know, that you're aware of that's sort of in the pipeline that might change what we wear, or that might support menopausal women?
I think that as time goes on, people hopefully will find that they have a huge amount more choice. I think people are beginning to understand. So one of the technologies that we use is something called 37.5 technology, and it uses, slightly bizarrely, it's crazy, volcanic minerals. So it's just produced by volcanoes. And the story behind that is a physicist was, when he was quite a young man, went to Japan, went on holiday, had lots of Japanese baths, had a volcanic bath where you're buried up to your neck in hot ash, and he thought, he was actually quite scared. He thought this is might be quite painful, but in fact he was astonished to find that he felt really cool, not cool, but just perfect. The temperature was perfect. And so he spent the next 10 years researching how the science behind that worked, and he created something called 37.5, which is a type of technology that we use in some of our collections. And what we have seen is that, you know, we're not the only ones using it. Obviously, there are huge companies out there using it. Jeans companies, Tommy, I think Calvin Klein, Levi's, sportswear companies, men's shirt companies. And I think that as time goes on, the consumer will find that good manufacturers are looking to help the customer. So it's not just, there will always be some fabulous designers who just, their one purpose in life is to make you look just kind of fabulous in their vision. But I think that's part of our wardrobe, probably quite a small part. All the rest of it is a bit more practical. It's, what am I going to wear to pick this kids up on the school run? Or what am I going to wear to take the dog for a run? What am I going to wear quickly going to buy some groceries before we starve to death, or mow the lawn, or on holiday, you know, traveling on the plane? What are we going to wear for all those occasions when we want to look good? It's not like we don't want to look good on those occasions, but we also need to feel comfortable, or we're not able to do those things. And that goes for work situation, even sitting here with you on Zoom, or actually traveling into an office if you're in an office or in a workspace. So I think the future is going to pull together the strands of sustainability in terms of interesting technology. And there's so much. I mean, I won't even start, because I could bore you for hours about the new technologies coming down the line, but there are tons, because people are thinking this is the future. We can't just stick with things like cotton, which is not only incredibly damaging to the planet in terms of water and pesticide usage, even organic cotton, which is, you know, they work very hard with that, but most organic cotton is grown in developing nations where water usage is a real problem for the people who live there, let alone for planting grains, planting things for fabric construction. So yeah, I think there's a lot of hope and a lot of interest in fabrics for the future.
Yeah, I mean, I'm fascinated by the volcanic piece. Makes me think about, just really off topic, but people walking along, fire walking, you know, where people walk along ashes. And I'm just wondering if that's not as hot as you might think it is because of that story. Anyway, that's getting a little bit off topic, but you know, that's absolutely fascinating. And it sounds like, you know, there's a lot out there, and that's sort of playing into this piece, and particularly alongside that sustainability piece. So this has been really interesting, Eileen. What's something that you could perhaps leave our listeners with, perhaps a little nugget or a takeaway or a sort of a key message that, you know, when they're thinking about, you know, what am I wearing? Like you say, for those everyday, just kind of, you know, occasions, just, you know, your general life, what should they be thinking about, particularly if they're menopausal and they might be experiencing, you know, hot flushes or night sweats?
Well, I think there's something to be said for the fact that when we're in our teens and 20s, we're constantly experimenting about, we're trying to figure out who are we? What sort of person am I? And tied up in that is the idea of what do I look like as a person? What is my image? How do people see me? How do I want to appear to other people? And it's at that stage that we often sometimes get stuck. So, you know, I unstuck myself. I had short hair almost all my life. And in my 40s, I suddenly thought, I'm going to grow my hair. And so since then I've had long hair because I don't want to get into this kind of rut where I've had the same hairstyle for 80 years. I've never changed. And it's same with makeup, and it's the same with clothes. I have my go-to pieces. I always have a lot of sleeveless roll necks. I don't know why. It's something about them I've always loved. I still love them. I still have them. But I think there's also something to be said to be kind to yourself and to understand that as time goes on, your body does change. It doesn't matter how much exercise you do, how well you eat, your body will change, whether it's because of hormones, because you've had children, because you've had, gone through some difficulties with health. All our bodies will change over time, and we need to be kind to ourselves and recognize that those changes will and have happened. And so to actually embrace the fact that you want to feel comfortable first so that you can really be yourself. Because I think, we've all seen the image of that woman staggering down the street in enormous heels, but looking so uncomfortable and really not stylish and just actually in pain. And I think we want to be the antithesis of that and just say no. Yes, of course, sometimes you want a great, amazing dress and all of that, but every day you just want to feel good. So as you walk out the door, you feel comfortable in your own skin, in your clothes. And because of that, you can have a smile on your face and face the day in a happy way, rather than walking out thinking, oh, this is a bit tight and on my skirts riding up, my jackets. You just don't want that. You want to have a smile on your face and feel good. So yeah, be kind to yourself, be comfortable.
I love that. Smile on your face, kind to yourself, accept your body, be comfortable just in your own skin, and be wearing things that make you feel that way every time you step out or you get up or you're in your own home. Just pick things that make you feel that way and put that smile on your face. That's a great place to finish, Eileen. Thank you so much for joining us on Meno Musings today.
It's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much, Meredith.
So for those who would like to find out more about cucumber clothing, I will include all the information, website details when I post the podcast. So please do check that out. And I look forward to seeing you next month on Meno Musings.